Hello, everyone. Welcome to day, I don't know what, of us all being inside our basements and our living rooms and our houses and walking to playgrounds and standing in the edges and looking in and hoping everyone's all right. I hope you're well. And this is in the neighborhood. We get to just hang out in our neighborhood and see how everyone's doing. And I'm going to check in with the legend himself, Jim Button, an affable co-host. I'm going to call you an affable co-host.
Affable. It's better than laughable.
Good morning, Jimmy.
Good morning, Davey.
How are you, my friend?
I am good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm aware of talking to Dr. Neil, and I want to make sure we get to it. And then
10:10.
10:10.
Exactly. We have 9 minutes.
Hoo-wee. And you're sure he's going to be ready? This is a guy running emergency rooms.
Yeah, running emergency rooms and in charge of COVID. So he may be a little busy.
We'll see what we can do. But how are you feeling today? Yesterday was a bit of a sore day. How is it today?
Yeah, I rested a lot yesterday, feeling better. Got up at 7 and started painting the bathroom.
Wow.
So I'm better today.
That's what you call it at your house? I gotta go paint the bathroom.
Gotta go paint the bathroom. I've been there for 2.5 hours.
Hey, let's get our friend. Do you want to come up with a scam for Mandy, or are we just going to go?
No, I feel bad for her today. She's not feeling well.
Let's look at her here. And of course, we're going to have to convince her that she's okay. This is our Mandy not feeling. Oh, I hope so.
Well, hello.
Hi, Mandy.
Hi, my loves.
Jimmy and I decided we're just going to be kind to you today. No tricks, no anything.
No little sister jokes.
Freaking out. Did you put spiders in my bed or anything?
No, but Dave did give you the flu.
How are you feeling, Mandy?
I'm feeling okay. I yesterday during the show I was feeling a little loopy and then a headache and fever and all the fun flu stuff started hitting. So I've been in bed since yesterday, since we saw you last.
Wow. Well, yeah. I hope you're drinking lots of fluids, getting lots of sleep.
Thank you. I am. I've slept essentially since 11 yesterday morning, drinking tons of tea. So we're good. Yeah.
Good. And I'm assuming Mandy's not staying on the whole show, is she? Or she's just Mandy's staying on the whole show, or?
I'm gonna have a bath in the middle of the show just to up our viewership. It's actually gonna lessen our viewership.
Now, how old is Luca?
Luca's 5.
So a 5-year-old understands mom needs quiet time, right? That's just totally. He goes, "Oh, of course, mom. That makes sense to me."
Yeah, totally. Yeah. He's the one that's bringing me tea and drawing me my bath.
Wow.
Atta boy. It's going to be a cold bath. But...
He jumped on my head this morning and was like, "Let's play baseball!" I was like, "Oh my God, I can't."
Please.
Plus, it's like snowy outside. I don't care, baseball!
Hey, should we bring Rusty back?
Sure, bring Rusty back.
Hey,
I feel like when you say that.
Yes.
Exactly.
I want to say, and I'll call Rusty. I did not. This is the first time I've ever made sense of that.
There we go.
Yes.
Why? You guys have to take me through that.
So that's the friendly giant used to say.
The friendly giant. Look up, look way up. It's Rusty.
Rusty the chicken. I got to sit by the fire. Yeah.
We'd forgotten about until today that when I say, and I'll call Rusty, that we get you.
Yeah. I wasn't actually on the friendly giant.
You weren't?
No, I wasn't Rusty the chicken.
And you're not a chicken?
No, you're not a chicken.
But I've been mistaken for him many times.
So where do the comparisons end?
I think it's just a nickname thing.
Just Rusty, for Rusty's sake. It's not...
And I'm kind of tall, so I guess I'm a friendly giant.
Okay, here's the test. Can you remember the riff for the friendly giant?
I can sing it, but I want Russ to...
No. All I remember is look up.
It's on the recorder. Everyone ready? It goes like this.
Oh, I didn't bring my recorder. That's really pretty.
It's an old English song, right up there with Greensleeves.
Greensleeves. Well,
Did you guys want me to do music history for everyone?
Greensleeves are a whole different thing for me, man.
Is that right?
Do you know what green sleeves are in the medical industry? That's the document you take when you go to the hospital when you're like me, and it tells all the things that the doctor needs to know in terms of resuscitating you or not. It's like there's different levels. So green sleeve is
Not
Do you have your green sleeve when I go in and I'm in Emerge? Yeah.
That's
Green
bad.
sleeves
Yikes.
are good because then you don't have to. They know what happens when you. Lots of
Right.
times when I show up and not in a good spot, so they just open up the green sleeve and go, okay,
Here's the
we're
deal.
not putting this guy on tubes. We're not resuscitating this guy. This guy's so
Wow. And there's
Jeepers.
it has little pistol, and it says if he starts to squeal, you just
yeah,
shoot him, or
you shoot
how
him.
does?
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that.
it's actually a needle. They just give me a needle into my IV bag and
Wow.
Did this get dark, Mandy? How is
yeah.
that
Well,
making you
I'm
feel
setting up
healthier?
for I'm setting up for a
Yeah.
doctor. Yeah, that's right. It's all been about medical right now.
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah, no kidding.
excited for
Oh
my
wait,
call.
guys! I don't want to get anyone too excited, but we do, and maybe we don't do the theme today, just so Mandy doesn't have to dance. Is that all right?
That
I can
sounds
dance.
totally fine.
I
I
Yeah.
can
still think we
dance.
need the music though.
Okay, so let's do the music, and I have special effects to go with the music. Okay, Russ, can you lead us in our
You
theme?
could dance with your eyebrows, Mandy. Like that kind of perfect. Here we go.
There we are. What is Dave doing?
He's doing special effects.
He thinks that's hot. All he's doing is turning on a
Oh,
light.
nice.
Wow. Mandy's eyebrows are way more captivating than that.
I thought Dave was
That was
making
really
the
hard.
basement.
That was super hard, but great exercise. Anyone at home? Do that for 5 minutes.
Dave,
You'll
what
be
was that?
impressed.
Oh, it says on air. From this far, it's
Oh.
just fuzzy.
Wait a minute. Let's just. If I talk a bit and I get bigger, maybe you can see.
There,
Yeah,
I can see it
know.
now. Now it says not on R.
On our. If you
It might
think
be
for
just
one
like
second,
a cloud of dust because when you went back there, you screwed up all these dust bunnies because you haven't cleaned your basement.
Yeah.
No judging
very
here.
very nice.
Yeah.
Actually,
Hey,
I'm in
look
my
it.
basement right now too.
Are you?
This is my basement office. It's a
Jimmy,
real fancy office
you are going to
with my
introduce.
typewriter.
Look at James. I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get you to focus.
I'm focused now. Sorry, sir.
We are our hero, our helper today is somebody that you get to introduce, and then I'm going to call him in like 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
So why don't
Explain
you
what.
set up?
Explain. Set it up. Why are we doing the helper thing, Dave?
So every day, because this is in the neighborhood, we do a section where we, as Mr. Rogers said, find someone who's helping. And every day we're going to try to find someone who's out there making our lives better and helping us out. And this person is a buddy of Jim's, but also is doing incredible things in Calgary. Who is he, Jimmy?
So his name's Dr. Neil Collins. I met him through my son. My son and his son were in the same grade in kindergarten. So I've known him, Jackson University now. So I've known him for 20 years and as a neighbor. And he has, during all this time, been obviously an emerge doc, eventually became in charge of all emergency rooms in the Calgary zone. And now with this pandemic we're dealing with, he's in charge of COVID for the Calgary zone. So he's got like a seriously big job, highly stressful. And he's, it's, first of all, I feel the new heroes in our world right now are people like the doctors, the nurses, the researchers, the grocery shop attendants, and that's one of my big hopes coming out of this this pandemic is that we have a resurgence of respect for people like that, and because it feels like, especially do I say it, the Trump era, those people have been pushed aside, and we need them, and it's being proven right now why we need them. So I'm super stoked that we are honoring Dr. Neil Collins today because he is a true gem.
All right. So Dr. Neil, and Mandy did some art for him, but maybe I'll call him first and
Call him up.
Okay, I'm going to call him. It's 10:09, but I'll try him now. Hopefully we catch him. And if we don't, we'll just keep trying him, but we'll see how that goes. Oh, there we go. Oh.
There's Dr. Neil!
Dr. Neil, how are you? It's great to have you with us. How's things going?
It's pretty busy. Thanks for having me on.
So let's do a quick tour. That's Mandy, you see, who's not feeling well, but hopefully you won't see her in your emergencies.
No.
Hi, Mandy. Sorry you're not feeling well.
Oh, thank you for everything you're doing. You're amazing.
We have Russ Broom on the guitar. So if you need any accompaniment for anything, we got somebody for you.
Thank you, Russ.
Thanks for doing what you do.
So and I'm Dave, and you know Jim rather well for a long time, from what we understand.
Yes, Jim and I have known each other for about 15 years, maybe more. Jim, right?
Ever since kindergarten.
That's right.
Our kids' kindergarten.
Now, we know you are a busy guy, so first of all, we want to thank you, but especially tell us how are things going in the world of emergency right now, and then maybe go into what is your role going forward with COVID?
Well, interestingly, things have quieted down in the emergency department probably for the last week and a half, ever since the first Calgary case, Dave. So I think the public are justifiably wanting to avoid emergency departments. I think it's out of a bit of altruism to give us some space to deal with the pandemic, but also because of concern about becoming infected, which I can understand. So our volumes are down maybe about 20% right now. They were down more, but things are starting to pick up now. But we are seeing a lot of infectious disease cases in the emergency department. They comprise maybe half of our presentations right now, which is much more than usual. We're starting to see some sicker patients with COVID right now as the pandemic evolves and people start to get a little bit sicker with their illness. So my role as kind of pandemic lead physician for the emergency department is to prepare the emergency department for what we think is probably going to be about double the number of patients that we normally see. And
Wow.
then, yeah, it's significant. And then also preparing our interactions with the other services. So this illness, as you know, is serious because around 5 to 10 to 15% of people will develop a very severe respiratory illness, and they'll require some intensive care from other services. So we're trying to make sure we have all the specialists and in terms of people and equipment and space available for that eventuality.
And what timing wise, are you seeing that that'll happen by Tuesday or in a month?
I think, the natural history of the disease, if you're infected on day 0, if you're going to be hospitalized, it's around day 7 to 9 to 10, something like that. If you develop a severe respiratory response, it's around that day 9, 10, 11. If you need critical care, if you're one of the unlucky people who gets a severe response to this, you're going to need to go into the intensive care unit. That's around day 12, something like that. Yes. So we're getting into the presentations of the sicker people now, so it's starting to ramp up. I think in the next week we're going to start to see much higher emerge volumes and the need for more transition to critical care.
You mentioned earlier how people can be altruistically staying away or frightenedly staying away. But what's your advice for parents or for anybody to say, look, you still need to use emergency. This is when you should, and this is when you shouldn't.
Yeah, just an interesting point about kids. This is a mild illness in kids, Dave. It doesn't usually affect kids. In fact, kids may have had it and you wouldn't even know it. They could be asymptomatic or have very mild symptoms, just like the regular common cold. So, I think one important message I would have for the listeners is not to come to the emergency department for testing. So if you're solely concerned that you might have this illness, then please phone 811 and they will set up testing if it's appropriate. So don't come to the emergency department for that reason. It's tough for us to deal with infectious cases. We've had to reorganize our emergency department so that when the infectious people come in, they're separated from the non-infectious people. Right. We just can't handle the capacity of people coming in asking for testing. If you think you're sick from the illness, then we can see you. If you think you're significantly sick. So if you have mild illness, we're probably just going to send you back home with advice to take Tylenol, lots of fluids, and rest. But if you have chest pain, and more importantly, shortness of breath. That's one of the real important symptoms. If you have shortness of breath that persists, then probably need to be seen in an emergency department. And if I can just add one other thing, the usual problems that you would come to an emergency department for, if you think you have a broken bone, if you're concerned about chest pain, that it might be a heart attack, a stroke, complications of diabetes, open for business. We still need to see you for those problems. Please don't stay at home inappropriately and come in later with a more complex presentation. So we can handle the regular load. It's just the people who come in because they're worried they might have it for testing. We'd rather you just phone 811 and avoid the emergency department altogether.
Great.
Jim or Mandy or Russ, any thoughts or questions?
Well, I'm wondering how many people was it a mad rush of people coming in, Neil, for a while there, or?
Well, I'll tell you, what saved us was the extremely competently set up testing centers. So there were some folks from Alberta Health Services on very short notice that set up these testing centers. On day one, they're testing hundreds of people. So if you can imagine trying to get a facility, trying to get nurses to staff it, set up the processes, they did it in a 24-hour period, and they completely offloaded the emergency department. So by day 2 or 3, they were seeing 1,000 patients a day that would have completely overwhelmed Calgary emergency departments. Wow. So those people just saved us. So the rush that we thought we were going to see didn't materialize, thankfully. But in health jurisdictions like New York that were behind, I don't want to pick on New York, but many health jurisdictions in the United States were behind on testing, and their patients were showing up in the emergency department for testing, and it overwhelmed the emergency departments immediately.
Wow.
And I know you're not, you're running the emergency department, but just for everyone watching and for us, what are our reminders as far as how important is this social isolation and all those things that people are talking about?
Well, a number of people have emailed me and said, isn't this like the common flu, and why don't we just let it run its course? I think the important part is that a significant number of patients who get this virus are going to need critical care. And the critical care is sometimes a ventilator. It's an ICU bed. And your best chance of surviving this, if you get a severe response, if you're unlucky enough to get a severe response, is to have an ICU bed. And then we have every hope that we can get you through this illness. But if the rate of infection in the general population hits a very high number, so if everyone gets affected all at once, then we just can't handle the influx of patients, and then we're going to have to make decisions about who gets the space. Now, we don't want that to happen in this jurisdiction. It did happen in Italy. It did happen in China. It's happening in Spain. It could happen in the United States. We don't want that to happen here in Alberta, and so and I don't think it will. I think the public health folks have been extremely effective in getting the message out. And so what we want to do is stop that rapid logarithmic rise in cases from happening so that we're not hit with a bunch of people who require ventilators and acute care. So we can manage what we think are the projected number of patients that are going to come in here because of the self-isolation. So it is important, and I would like to just reinforce what the public health folks are saying, that that we should engage in social distancing, stay home, no large groups, and certainly if you're symptomatic, you need to be in your house and isolating yourself from other people.
Good for you, Mandy.
Yay.
So
Thanks,
Mandy is isolating right now, but Mandy also did a piece of art for you. So talk a bit about that. Look at that. Tell us about that, Mandy. Look at that.
So Neil, last week I decided to start highlighting heroes in our community, and I started with Dr. Hinshaw because she's been such a calm rock star, and keeping us all kind of informed but not chaotic, which I think is amazing. So that kind of went around the world, and now every day we're celebrating someone exceptional that is really just our new heroes and paving the way for all of us. So thank you so much for everything you're doing. You're such a special one.
Well, that's really great, Mandy. Thank you very much. And I that came off an AHS picture, and a bunch of people phoned in and said, I think you're your biceps were photoshopped because there's no way they're that big. And I just want to say that no, they're that big. There was no.
The truth comes out finally.
I know. How he kept a straight face saying that, I have no idea.
That was amazing.
Hey, Russ, I want to hear some Neil Young on the way out here. When you guys are done with me, I want to hear some Neil Young.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
All right.
Nice.
So, Jim, why don't you do a long, lingering goodbye while Russ plays?
Okay, and then Neil, you can hang up whenever you're done. Whatever I have to say about. One of my beer barons, and he really tries hard to name our beers and has had no success to date. His worst example is he wanted to call a beer Alan a Dale. And I like a lifting of hands of anybody that's ever heard of Alan a Dale.
Never.
And there's Neil. There we are.
Okay, I'm too embarrassed to stay on. I gotta.
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks so much. What a good guy. Yay. This is Rob coming in. Hi, Rob. Yes.
All right.
Should I be calling our
Is everything
strongest
okay?
man yet?
Do not call anybody yet. I just got a phone call coming in, so I need to turn off your video and back on again. So stand by.
Okay.
Got a phone call.
What do you think? Is it the
Jason Kenny calling to say how proud he is of us.
And he's going to give us money.
We have to protect. No, I'm not getting into politics.
Yay!
We're back on? All right.
That.
I didn't even notice we were gone. Did you notice we were gone?
I didn't.
I noticed.
I can't notice much right now.
Oh, Mandy's back into foreheads again. That was yesterday.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
You going for a nap now, Mandy?
Yeah, I might. I'll just.
Well, let's.
You just lie there. And
when
you
the
fall
phone
asleep.
drops like that, then you'll know that I fell asleep.
All right. That sounds good.
5390. So Marshall Ennis, this man was voted the world's
Not voted. He
strongest
won.
man.
He won. He won.
I should say yes.
Yeah.
And he won the Highland Games. This man is as big and as strong as they come. And he also is an author, James.
Yes. And I once saw him back about 20 years ago when I was doing an event down in Eau Claire. He had two cars facing in opposite directions, and he had a rope wrapped around his arms. And they both tried to take off, and he helped them both there with smoke squealing from their tires. He's Canada's strongest man. And he competed globally, of course, and did well. So
he's a strong
Marshall Ennis is a strong man. Don't mess with him.
No, we're not messing with him. Look at this. I'm just ringing him up here. At least I hope that's him. What if I'm calling?
You're probably calling Jill Barber, or you're calling somebody from our past.
Don't do that.
No, that would be terrible. Yeah. Okay. I think I got the right number. Yes, I do.
Are you sure?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. Yes.
If I had two hands, I'd make that stretch symbol. Stretch. Keep the conversation. Russ, maybe some music would be helpful right about now.
It's not connecting, guys.
Play some strong music, Russ. Some strong, like Uriah Heep, or maybe some...
Uriah Heep?
What year is it?
Uriah Heep?
That was the first year that Russell was able to lift a ton over his head.
I got to be honest, folks. I've been calling him 4 times, and he's not answering. So
are you calling the right number?
Do you guys want me to lift something? I could be...
Can you be Marshall?
Mandy, you're lifting your head. That's enough for you.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. It's working. Okay, that's enough.
I'm gonna try a whole other version of him here. See if this works. There.
Crazy.
There. I know. We saw him earlier. We talked to him. He's here. He exists. I know he does.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if...
What's that behind your head?
Oh, this was my very first painting I ever did with the help of Rich Thoreau from Rumble House.
Nice.
As you can see, I gave Tracy quite a sunburn. I've been wanting to go back and fix that up, but actually the only one I think I nailed was me, which feels I feel guilty about that.
No, it's so good.
It's great. I can't believe that's your first painting. That's ridiculous.
It's amazing.
First one without having to use numbers.
Hey, what's in front of you there, Russ?
Well, Dave's been talking about his trophies all week.
I have not.
So
I don't know what you're talking about.
he never shuts up about his trophies. So I found a couple of these at Valley Village.
Yeah. Okay, so what are they? Tell us what they are.
Well, this is a SOCAN award for a song that I wrote with Jan. And I don't know what it means, but it looks really pretty.
It is.
And then this is an old school Juno from the early 2000s.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So tell us about that one.
Well, yeah, Jan and I won for Songwriter of the Year, but I didn't go because I didn't think we were going to win. So really? I never went. So because I'm an idiot. But yeah, so I got this nice award, and my mom really likes it, and yeah,
I think it's beautiful.
Thanks. It's good. If there's a burglar, I can do some serious damage with it because it weighs quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm so happy Dave doesn't have one of those, though.
No,
it's the only thing we would talk about.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you guys talking about? I don't know what you guys are talking about.
All your awards, Dave. Like,
yeah.
And then I think Jim was showing us a trophy this morning, if we're going to try and keep it positive.
Yep.
And Jim, can you try calling? Jim's got to go away because he's trying to call because Marshall is just not answering. He's mad at me for something. I don't know what he's mad at
Dave,
me for.
I can't call him. Only you can call him.
I know. It says it's ringing. Oh, wait. Whoa.
I just texted him.
Yeah. Isn't this fun, folks? This is like when
it's fun for us.
Yeah, I know.
Dave, are you calling? Dave,
I'm having fun.
Dave, are you calling 780?
Don't say the whole number.
Say it. Okay, Russ, should we sing a song?
914 number? Is that the one you're calling?
Yeah, jeepers.
Yes, that's what I'm calling.
Here, why don't I show you guys what your coloring page today is?
Okay, can you show us your coloring page today?
Yeah, you bet. I sure can. All right, everyone. So today, if we're going with my influences, I did a nice little portrait of Basquiat. Now, Basquiat is like just an incredible artist. His work at the time, it made people like, I just think his work is so free and every line is just truthful of his. And I love the fact that when he was quite poor when he met Andy Warhol, and he used to, I think he was homeless at the time, but he used to take any supplies that he could, and he found like playing cards or like ripped up tiny pieces of cardboard, and he would do mini paintings on playing cards. And then he saw Andy Warhol in a cafe having lunch, and he went in there and gave him like a whole deck of cards that he had painted on. Yeah. And that's and then he left. And then Andy Warhol later looked through the cards and was like, holy shoot, this guy is amazing. And then found him. And then that's kind of what started his career. So it's pretty cool story. So artists out there, never give up. Always make.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey. Way to do a never give up story while we tried to get Marshall.
Thank you.
We got you. How are you, Marshall?
I'm excellent. Oh, just 1 second. I need to record this for my mom.
Oh, good.
Wait, is it like an old cassette deck?
Yeah.
Reel to reel.
Oh, cool.
Show me what a reel to reel looks like. I haven't seen one of those in 40 years.
Nice. I can send them reel to reel at the end of the day.
Okay.
That is so awesome.
Whoa. Now, Russell, or I should say Russell was talking, but earlier. Why did I say Russell? I don't know. Marshall, you guys should be in a poem together is what I'm saying.
Nice.
Marshall, what is one of the stronger things that you've had to do when you were a strongest man? Like, give us an example of your brawn.
My two favorite events were truck pole and the caber toss. So that's the Scottish Games, the big telephone pole that you have to flip. Yeah. So I've pulled 3 tractor trailers tied together, 124,000 pounds, 80 feet. And for 3 years of my life, there wasn't a caber I couldn't flip. Typically in competition, they have a competition caber. If nobody flips it, they'll cut off 6 inches or a foot. But a challenge caber is a caber that never gets cut. So they just put a bounty on it every year. And for about 3 years of my life, I used to just go collect bounties. And some of these bounties were like $3,600, $4,000. So it was pretty awesome. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
So you get on a plane, go flip a caber, grab $4,000 and go home.
Yeah, I used to tell people I was a starving athlete at 365 because I literally worked till 5 o'clock, flew a red eye, competed, and came back to my job until I got better and was actually invited to go.
Well, that's Jim
That's
Button's
amazing.
similar. Now, but what's also fun is then you took this and you wrote a children's book. Tell us a bit about the book, and then you're going to read it for us.
Absolutely. The children's book I wrote is approximately 16 years old. I wrote it for my oldest boy now, who's 21. And because Dad was on the road so much, I've been in 32 countries around the world. I've tossed the caber in front of the Queen of England, competed in front of the Sheikh of Dubai. So I was away a lot. So when I used to come home, I used to share this story with my oldest boy, Ryerson. So a friend of mine, when he retired, started drawing. So I actually took the book down with me and I said, I wrote this story 15 years ago. Would you write it? And last April, it got published and is doing very well. Very proud to say I've been in over 22 schools and I've read this book to over 1,100 children. So that's for free. So this has really inspired me, guys. I love what you're doing here. And to the point, Dave, I might steal this idea. I think I'm going to do a Facebook show for kids where I just take your kids for 20 minutes every day and just read a story.
Yeah, boy.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So while you're setting up your reading, where do people find more information about you if they want to be part of what you're doing?
The world's strongestbooks.com.
theworldstrongestbooks.com. All right, Marshall,
what I'll do for your audience, Dave, is actually at the end, I'll put up a QR code and they can actually just click on it to go right to. And then there's a little gift at the end for a giveaway. So I'll just flip over here.
Yeah.
Everybody see the book?
Look at you.
All right. So The World's Strongest Dad by Marshall Ennis and my friend Edward Welder, a gentleman from Australia. So he drew it for me. So The World's Strongest Dad. To Ryerson James, who's my oldest son, because a father and his son do not see each other every day does not mean their love is not strong.
Aww.
Some dads drive big red trucks. Some dads can put out fires. Some dads can climb the tallest ladders. That's what makes some dads strong. Some dads work with dogs. Some dads help people stay safe. Some dads can stop traffic with one hand. That's what makes some dads strong. Some dads operate big machines. Some dads can move mountains. Some dads can build huge buildings. That's what makes some dads strong. Some dads fly to work. Some dads have offices in the tallest buildings. Some dads shuffle thousands of papers all day long. That's what makes some dads strong. Some dads work in fields all day long. Some dads make food for thousands of people. Some dads take care of animals. That's what makes some dads strong. Some dads can teach us to sing. There you go, Russ. Some dads can show us how to dance. Some dads teach us to stop and listen. That's what makes some dads strong. Some dads go very fast. Some dads can make the play. Some dads can reel it in. That's what makes some dads strong. Some dads can piggyback all day long. Some dads can fly you like Superman. Some dads can swing you to the sky. That's what makes some dads strong. Some dads can pull big trucks. Some dads can toss giant trees. Some dads can hold back cars. But that's not what makes my dad strong. When my dad hugs me, that's when I know for sure that he is the strongest dad in the world.
Hey, bravo.
Bravo.
Thanks,
that's really
beautiful
sweet.
drawings too. It's
Thank
such
you.
a good book.
Mandy, I'll send that on to Edwards. Folks, what I've done in the back of the book is I created this little activity for kids to do. So whether they buy the book or I go into schools. So what it says, guys, is write your own verse about who is the strongest person in the world to you. I just want to share with your audience, I wrote this about dads because it was for my son when I was away. But I just want to remind everybody out there, especially in this day and age and with what's going on in the world, there are strong doctors, as we just heard from, strong nurses, strong moms, strong teachers, strong violin players, strong grandmas, strong grandpas. Folks, we all have somebody strong in your life. So what I've said to Dave is what I'd like to do and give Mandy a little bit of a day off here is I would love for people, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a QR code or give you my website. And then what I would like everybody to do is to write your own verse about that strong person, draw a picture. Please just use your first name on it. If you send it back to me, this will live on my website. I think there's about 100 of them there now. I will put everyone that comes back to me on my website so you can share with people now while we're in our homes just how strong you are. So my son was kind enough to do as an example. Here you go, right here. You are the strongest person I know. You're not just strong, but you are loving and smart and handsome. You will also be in my heart, and I know I will always be in your heart.
Wow.
So, folks, right here, if you guys can see this, I made it nice and big. This is a QR code. So this QR code, if you just go over it with your phone, it'll go straight to the worldstrongestbooks.com. And if you go to the worldstrongestbooks.com, I promise you, as soon as I receive these pictures, they'll be up on the website.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
We'll put some information on. We'll put some information down there too, as well, Marshall.
In our notes.
Awesome.
Marshall, I don't want to brag, but Mandy taught us how to do bad portraits. So I thought I would do a picture of Mandy because she's one of the strongest people I know. And I did it as a bad portrait. I just did it just now. So that's it right there.
It's amazing.
So,
Thank you, Dave.
Wait, it's like this. This is you lying down.
It looks like you have an idea. Is that what
I was trying to do your hair there.
Dave, thank you. You're going to make me cry again, you guys.
This is to make you feel good. Marshall has a way of making everybody around him feel strong.
That's
so thank
sure.
you, Marshall.
Yeah, you
That's a really sweet book.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Marshall, I don't know. I know you're in a chair. Can you boogie in your chair while Russ plays our final music for our dance party?
I guess I can't use the excuse that I have a bad caber tossing knee. So yes, I will do so.
Hey, tomorrow we have lots of great things that I forgot. Jimmy, I can look it up before we go. Tomorrow's show is can I say Neil? Is he a for sure?
I think so.
Neil?
I haven't talked to him, but yeah, say it.
We're going to try to get a hold of Neil Zeller, photographer, who's going around taking pictures from his car.
Oh, yeah,
to
he's
people
for sure.
on their porch. And then the heebie-jeebies we're thinking about. Hopefully we can get them to come and see if they can.
That'll be neat to see how they do a cappella across 4 screens.
Yeah,
that's going to be a trick.
That's
amazing.
Marshall, Ennis, thanks so much. Of course, Dr. Neil Collins, our helper today.
Thanks, Marshall.
Thanks,
Jimmy.
Let's do some dancing on our way out. Stay safe, everyone.
I love you guys.
Look, Mandy, you're on 2 screens.
Whoa! It's Inception, is it? I don't know.
This is fun.
I'm going to give you an award, Mandy.
Oh, yes.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Stay safe.